Good day and good evening, and welcome back to Roulette Live with me, Caetsu Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. Tonight, as usual, about 10 Roulettes is the target, about 3 hours is the target, whichever one happens last is usually what we're aiming for. And tonight, I felt like playing Black Mage. Just Black Mage. A big shocker, guy that likes specific jobs likes to run Roulette with specific jobs. There's also a small problem because I have actually considered reintroducing the wheel. But as it stands right now, there are a few jobs that are actually too low item level for me to actually use for Roulette. Because it does require 745. So it would be a little bit unfair. Now, just make a wheel, but every option on the wheel is just Black Mage. Oh yeah, we're gonna randomly choose jobs, guys. Oh, there's red Black Mage, and blue Black Mage, and white Black Mage. Because the slices on the wheel would have different colors. That's a pretty good one. That sounds like an April Fool's thing. Oh yeah, we're gonna choose jobs randomly. What jobs are there to choose between? Well, there's Black Mage. Just have to... Yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic idea, Phil. Just have, like, spin the wheel and then it's like lands on Dragoon. Then I just, like, open a glamour plate and just switch to a Dragoon glam. Like, yeah, I'm playing Dragoon. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not jumping? I'm dressed as a Dragoon. That sure has to count for something. Now, with that said, hey Telema, hey Ceres, hey Agent Monica, hey Vince, hey Lana, hey Arizara, hey Lux, hey Liv, hey Stingera, hey Snow Shiro, hey Lichaw, hey Asymmetricon, hey Domino, hey Phil, hey Cat, hey Zaf, hey Sackboy, hey Kiwi, hey Mizunashi. Hope you're all doing very well. Manip is kinda like a jump. Yeah, I guess so. Right. I will queue when it says 48. I see my good pal Bachman today. That would be really sad with Black Mage. Oh, a trial or a raid, straight out the gate. Hey Naomi, hope you're doing well. Click yes, tank. I want to play a game. Hey Banana, hope you're doing well. Under the Armor Extreme. You know, it could be Solemn Trinity. It could also be someone didn't click yes. They made it! And where are we going? We start with Shiva Extreme. Wow, and Agent Monica's here. And Ilana is too. One of the healers said, when I asked if we should talk tactics, they just said the tactic is don't die. I mean, that's pretty, like, that could do it. That might work. But, takes a little more to not die. Oh, someone failed the tactic. Well, we have one tank that knows exactly what to do, so this should be cake. As long as that tank doesn't die, of course. Boink. You know, Ilana, that might not even be, it might not even be necessary for the tank to switch. I know that sounds very cursed, but it is very possible to just have one tank do it all and just ignore the whole thing. But yeah, don't retract your statement. That might just add more confusion. Here comes the bow. And no one got hit. Amazing. Whoa. And there was even a tank switch and everything. That is amazing. Well, this is a sword. That's that was incredible. Oh, the mount dropped. Fantastic. I'll say Regal Star and cat and a weird cat and Rust. Hope you're doing well. That was incredible. Like that was a like that just goes to show like what worked there is the tanks knew what to do, and the healers at least didn't get overwhelmed by the mechanics. If you have tanks and healers like that, then just saying don't die is all you need. Very nice. Hey Shaman, hope you're doing well. I will queue when it says 8. And that's true, Ilana. The reason why I was like, you don't need to do that is because if one tank knows exactly what to do and the other tank doesn't, then attempting to do the tank switch might actually cause more problems than help. But both tanks knew what to do there, so that's good. Hey Gazzle, hope you're doing well. And I didn't even have to tank anything. please, Shorakai. Hope you're doing well. The not die tactic. The well-known classical black mage tank. Back when I was grinding through Delubrum Reginae for Shadowbringers relics, sometimes I would go as black mage and then find that there was, in fact, in the whole 24 players, not a single tank job. And it probably comes as no surprise that there wasn't exactly anyone, like, jumping at the bit to be the tank. So I would just be like, well, I do have the provoke button. So I just slap on a tank essence. And then just tank, because no one else wanted to. Similarly, if I was tanking, it wasn't unusual that I would bring, like, the Lost Action Cure, just the regular one, just in case. And I'd bring, like, as many of the debuff removal potions as I could, because at least at the time, Warrior, which was the one I usually went as if I was going to tank, didn't really have the ability to, like, barrier block the tank buster doom debuff. So if there wasn't a healer that wanted to help, I just had to deal with it myself or die. And I didn't want to die, so that leaves me one option. Number 4. Hey, Tenji, hope you're doing well. The not die tactic is good in real life as well, indeed. If only Shake It Off could still get rid of debuffs. You know what's funny is that the incarnation of Shake It Off that removed debuffs, as far as I could tell, lasted like roughly as long as, like, for instance, Noxious Nash. Maybe a bit longer. Like, it wasn't in the game for very long. Shaman says, is it better for Black Mage to finish Astral Fire with the instant Fire 3 granted from Paradox, or use it after Blizzard Fall to switch back to Fire? In the level range where you have Paradox, if you are in Astral Fire 3 already and you have Firestarter, that usually means that you either went into Astral Fire by casting a Cold Fire 3, which is not optimal, but sometimes that you gotta do what you gotta do. Or you got it from Mana Font. In terms of, like, perfect optimization, I believe there is something to be said that skipping the Firestarter Fire 3 like the one you'd have in excess from Mana Fonts like that is in the like, you know, in a vacuum infinite boss fight length scenario, I believe it is better to actually skip using an excess Fire 3, like a Firestarter that you don't need to get Astral Fire 3. However, if you don't know exactly when the fight is ending, that Fire 3 could just as well replace a Blizzard 4 or a Blizzard 3 in the grand scheme of things. And as Asymmetricon says, it's also a very good movement tool. So I would say, unless you've, like, spreadsheeted a fight and know, like, with exact perfect accuracy, then I would say don't feel bad if you forget to send the extra Firestarter, but you might as well send it. Make use of the extra free mobility you have. Maybe you can save a Xenoglossy somewhere as a result. But yeah, if you only have one fire, like if you have fire starter and you're not getting like an extra one, you should exit Astral Fire into Umbral Ice with the fire starter in hand, such that you can go back in, use Fire 3 fire starter, and then you can use the Paradox as like a flexible option, or you can use it immediately. The point is that by doing so, you're carrying that fire starter as a mobility option, because the moment you use it, the next time you go into Astral Fire, you just open with Paradox Fire 3. And then you just don't have a loose fire starter to like be more flexible. It's a flexibility option. Below Paradox though, like when you're level 89 or below, you don't get any fire starters once you get Fire 4. Like not really. So there's like that's just like that's not a non-conversation. Below level 60 where you don't have Fire 4, my calculations say that it's actually like it's a really close thing. It doesn't really make a huge difference, but it's actually probably better to just send the fire starters when you get them from level 59 and below. You'd rather finish with a fire starter Fire 3 and then go into Umbral Ice than hold it to get a better start on your next Astral Fire, because it's already really awkward to transpose into Astral Fire at level 59 because your only instant option to do that is Thunder. Like, there's a lot going into that. That's really complicated. Tenji says, do you have guides on Disciples of Hand and Land? Technically I do, but they're kind of old. Like, they maybe give you, like, the starting lessons on what to look for, but, like, I haven't done anything with Hand and Land since, like, early Endwalker, I think. Also, hey, Tom here, and Iris. Hope you're doing well. And they say Black Mage isn't complex anymore. The thing is, the points where Black Mage gets complex is like Firestarter, primarily. And then like small optimizations like downtime optimization and stuff. The thing is, the things that were complicated for like non-Black Mage masters are still complicated now. And also level 50 Black Mage is mega cursed. If you paid really close attention in the Shiva Extreme fight, there was a moment where I finished an Astral Fire state by using Flare and then a Fire Starter Fire 3. And then I use Transpose Swiftcast Blizzard 3, which is a specific line, and I've calculated all of those lines for level 50 to know which ones are best. And level 50 Black Mage is just mega weird. And level 50 AoE is also bizarre. Thank you, Aradil. Hope you're doing well, by the way. And hey, Silva. Hope you're doing well as well. Level 50 optimal Black Mage is... If you ever wanted a job where randomness actually has an impact on your rotation plan, then Black Mage is probably a solid pick. Because Firestarter Lemao. Because Firestarter. But the essence of it is like the optimization level 50 comes down to a very select few things. It comes down to, you want to make sure that you're applying Thunder, maintaining Thunder in the most effective way. That's one thing. Another thing is the average wait time is pretty cursed. The other thing is essentially in how you finish your Astral Fire state. And the options you have come down to, is Swiftcast available? Because if Swiftcast is available, you would prefer to finish your Astral Fire state with an instant spell, which means Thunder or Firestarter. If Swiftcast is not available, whatever. And if that means that if Swiftcast is not available, there's not that much to think about. You just finish and then you go, oh, and then you cast Blizzard 3 normally. But if Swiftcast is available, then it becomes, will Thunder need to be reapplied on time such that you can finish with that? In that case, just do that. If you get a fire starter and you have it, have enough MP for one more fire 1, then you would rather finish. It would be then you have the option. Oh, of course, Guildhests. Then you have the option to greed and just send the fire starter and cast fire 1 again on the assumption you get getting another fire starter, or you have maybe you have a thunder reapplication on hand. The other option is if you don't want to greed, you just use Flare. You just finish with Flare, because Flare does more damage than Fire 1, so it's the safer option. And on average, that's better. It's just that sometimes you'll be lucky. Is the Black Mage guide on the channel still viable to follow? Look for the one that says 7.2 in it. And then yes, nothing has changed for Black Mage since the release of that guide. There's also, if you want to dig deeper, a companion video called something to the effect of the wacky world of non-standard Black Mage, which is where, that's where you will find all this level 50 turbo jank. Because I don't include it in the actual guide, because it's way too much. It's way too much. Right, I will queue when it says 30. Thank you, Ardo. And hey, Falca. Hope you're doing well. And hey, Medusa, hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, exactly, me. So mark your bingo cards. We talked about Black Mage on the Black Mage stream. But also just general tip. If you go to my playlist of Dawntrail job guides, if you want to find a guide for for a job, just grab one of them and then scroll to the comment section. There should be, if there is a pinned comment from me, then read that. The pinned comment will tell you either a link to a newer version, so click that, or it will tell you what's different. Like, for instance, the 7.2 Black Mage one, I believe there is a pinned comment saying nothing has changed twice. So if you're ever uncertain, in fact, I'm pretty sure I remembered this consistently. So I'm pretty sure if you hop to my level 50, my level 1 to 50 Black Mage guide from Shadowbringers, I'm pretty sure that there's a pinned comment on that directing you to the Endwalker, 6.0 version. And that one has a comment pinned that redirects you to... I can't remember if it... Yeah, I do believe I made a new version of it. It would direct to that one. And that one directs to the 7.0 version of the guide. And that one directs you to the 7.2 version of the guide. So if you were ever uncertain about my guides, just check the pinned comment. I usually either have patch notes or a link, because it's important that the guide you grab is actually accurate. Hey, Kraken Mo! Hope you're doing well. And yeah, we are just playing Black Mage today. I wanted to play Black Mage. Thank you, Erdal. That one is very old. Nay, Stroimix. Hope you're doing well as well. And hey, Milena. Hope you're doing well as well. But it is important. But I also leave all the guides up because sometimes there's like a historical value in it. So it would be weird to just hide them away. But that's also why there's usually like a patch number on them. Or it's relatively obvious when it's from. I believe the Shadowbringers guides have the Shadowbringers logo in the thumbnail. They also are in front of a green board, so they look the part. Hey Dinky, hope you're doing well. Nice, Liv. I have no idea where to mess around with Flare Star. If you have Flare Star, you could just go to a striking dummy and mess around with it. Tenji says, wouldn't it be fine to keep the old guides anyway, since it may help new players who would want to take the game slow? Like how... Tenji, that doesn't make any sense. The new guides cover level 1 to 100. The old guides cover stuff that has been removed or changed. Like let me put it like this, if you watch any of my Shadowbringers level 1 to 50 guides, you'll find a lot of things mentioned that does not exist. At level 28, you unlock a trait called Thundercloud. Huh. Weird. No worries, Tenji. I'll say Yansa. Hope you're doing well. Milena says, imagine being a new player and jumping into the stream of the player you checked an outdated guide of White Mage and tell them you couldn't find cleric stands and stone skin in your kit. Right? The funniest, the weirdest comment I've gotten was on like one of my very old guides where they gave me advice on my mic. I'm like, thanks, but it's a 3-year-old video. Maybe check if I fixed it on a recent one before you do that. Hey Oats, hope you're doing well. You still have to level Conjure to unlock Skull. I think I've actually gotten that comment as well. I think I've actually gotten a comment where someone said that they didn't want to level some other class and that's why they haven't tried a specific job. I'm like, what? That's also why I find it very interesting that sometimes, this is particularly common on my Mythbuster videos. Sometimes someone will put a comment that basically says, no, that's not how it works. It actually works like this, and then they explain how it worked like 5 years ago. It's like, yeah, it did used to work like that. Have you checked recently? Because I have, as you can see in the video. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a classic reason I've also seen is that probably not a huge surprise, but with you know, the waves of players that, you know, have quit the game for various reasons, there are more cases of players that seem to have a lot of deep knowledge of the game, except it's mega outdated because they haven't played in a while. And that's also just something that accumulates in a game's community over the years. Nice. I will queue when it says 45. Oh. Hey Sally and Redmaster, hope you're doing well. And hey Oberson, hope you're doing well as well. I kept hearing line every time she asked what my favorite color was. You're welcome for that one. Oh man! Epic Duty used to be a black mage in, am I right guys? Oh, I have Mana Font here. Maybe I won't even have to cast a single ice spell. Pew. Pew. Reload! Pew. 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 Okay, I do think we will see a few ice spells after all. Is the job plan this time? We're just playing Black Mage. I felt like Black Mage. Somebody says, watch the next one be an extreme. Actually, the first one was an extreme. We started with Shiva extreme. Oh, Q when it says 24? Oh boy. Say Violet Songbird, hope you're doing well. And welcome back to the game. Ow. I don't even have Scathe. I'll queue when it says 48. This is the unexpected Guildhest speedrun. You see, the trick here is that everything needs to die, but my AoE sucks. So I'm kind of hoping someone else will do the AoE for the most part. It's such a weird duty, because all those blue flames look important, but I'm like 99% certain that having more than one flame doesn't change anything. Like, the boss has a buff that is either there is a blue flame nearby or there's not. Which means, well, there's 13 blue flames is the same as there's one. I'll queue when it says 29. And a ultimate trainer, hope you're doing well. And Sonny, hope you're doing well as well. Exactly, Milena. It's like, it's way too too much work to turn them out, like just blow them out. Oh, Lana's here. I'll say, Yannick, hope you're doing well as well. I will queue when it says 4. I mean, the trick here, Zomer, is that when you get Guildhests like this in a sequence, each subsequent Guildhest makes it funnier. Milena says, 70% of my mentor roulettes are Guildhests with players in them doing them for the first time to unlock mentor roulette. That is a surprising amount doing that. But I will say, like, in my experience, one half of those kind of players is potentially people trying to unlock mentor roulette. The other half are the ones that recognize that there is actually a first-time bonus for every Guildhest, for every job up to and including jobs from Stormblood. The bonus is like a little extra sack of gil, like extra monies, and a little more extra XP. The problem, of course, being that the amount of XP is basically pointless, especially for Samurai and Red Mage. The money is all right if you're like a free trial player or something. But these players then, of course, go, well, there's a first-time bonus, I'm gonna get it while I'm low enough level that it is somewhat relevant. Which, you know, is a fair point, but it's like, you would have gotten more value out of just doing a leveling dungeon. Hey, Momoka and Seraph, hope you're doing well. And yes, Momoka says there's also the one spamming Guildhests to try and farm commendations. Does it give a Wondrous Tales reset point for every job? No. That one is, you know, a player first time. It's just, you can see this completion bonus. I guess it doesn't count if you didn't queue for it in particular. Isn't that strange? And Yeah, exactly, Telema. You can usually recognize the ones doing it for commendation farming if you see the same person in the same Guildhest over and over and over again. You don't claim the rewards at the end. I don't know if that counts for the completion bonus, but that is a good point. That reward is nearly nothing. Regal says, I think it might be less conspicuous to farm commendations by farming AR normal trials on a healer or something. Sure. See, the thing is, the reason why it stands out so much when people spam Guildhests to farm is because there's no other possible reason you're there. And, like, there's no chance that you're doing something impressive enough to just, like, to give me, at least, a reason to commend you. Oh. Before Endwalker Tenshi, mentor status required 300 commendations. Then Endwalker made it 1,500. But to get mentor Roulette, you have to basically do every duty in the game, aside from the most recent extremes, like from the current expansion, and aside from all Savage duties. I'll say Gotham and Necrophits, hope you're doing well. Hey Cobalt, you didn't lose that much. There was an extreme, and then we just sat and queued and then got Guildhests over and over. Yeah, that's my advice is... Like, I'm of course not everyone, and there's definitely people that will commend someone for doing a Guildhest anyways. But I'm not that player. And if you want my commendation, do a duty where there's something you can do that is impressive and commendable. That's fair. Look, there's many different reasons people give commendations. Like, part of my justification to not commend anyone in Guildhests is half that I don't want to support this stuff where people just spam Guildhests to get commendations because it's like, it's a little strange. But another half is also that the total length of the duty is so short that me not commending you actually reduces the total duty length by a significant amount. Which is a really, really funny way of me saying the reason you're spamming Guildhests, that they're short so you can get a lot of duties in very short time, also justifies me not staying for a single second longer than necessary. Perhaps not double silly, but yeah, exactly that kind of idea is what I'm going for. Is that commending someone takes a few seconds. Or even just a second. But when the duty is like 20 seconds in total, you can probably see how that would be a problem. But it's all in good fun, it's just preference. Like at the end of the day, the commendation is mine to give. Can't be mad that I'm choosing to not give it. The funny thing there, Lux, is that at least Blizzard 2 has sucked in every iteration of Black Mage except for Endwalker. So it's nothing new that Blizzard 2 sucks. It's just that they changed it back. I'm not quite as sure on Fire 2, but I do recall that in Shadowbringers, the optimal rotation when you got freeze was to just spam freeze and maintain your thunder until you got access to Umbral Hearts. Because you couldn't, like, if you used Flare, you would be down to 0 MP and you wouldn't be able to cast anything until you got, like, an MP take. It's really awkward. But Endwalker made both Blizzard 2 and Fire 2 kinda good. And then they took it away for some reason. And see, Wallace, that is perfectly fair. That is perfectly fair. But I'm also not going to be the guy that says that's going to, like, make a big deal out of someone choosing to comment for something very small or something random. Because it's your commendation to give. By the way, single target Doton. Opposite of single target Doton, so not Doton? Huh? Oh, very likely, Wallace. I've actually talked about this before, that it's actually really unwise to just see other players do a specific thing and assume that they know what they're doing. Like, the funny thing with just going, oh, other people are doing this, and just copying them, is if we assume everyone acts like you do, then you have to assume that everyone is, like, that no one knows what they're doing. Like, the exact justification to use single target Doton because you saw other people do it, and surely they know what to do, is exactly the argument for why you shouldn't copy other players. Y'all know what you're doing, right? And also true, as Momoka says, there's also some that will just maintain Doton because it's like a little bit like a dot. Bruh. Bruh. Man. Hey Ham, hope you're doing well. Dot effect should say deals X potency over Y seconds instead. Yeah, that would be better probably. Or like if they really want to use the kind of tooltips that they use now, at least put a every 3 seconds next to the potency. That would do a lot. Just a little every 3 seconds. Hey Nox, hope you're doing well. I might have gotten lost in the sauce. What did you do now, Nox? Indeed. The thing is that what's really cursed is that there was a time where Doton actually did more damage than Raiton on single target. Like, per cast. I mentioned this before. In late Shadowbringer, so after the Mudra rework, where they made them GCD, Doton did a combined 900 potency. While Raiton did 800. And just to be clear, Raiju didn't exist. So the and Halo Nozuchi didn't exist either, so that was it. But then with Endwalker, they adjusted it so that I believe Doton was worth like 640 potency? Something like that, while Raiton was worth 650 and had Raiju. And then they changed it again, and nowadays it's worth 560 potency. Like, that's a whole tick too little. But it's not like it mattered. Like, take note that in Shadowbringers, Doton took half a second longer to cast than Raiton. And that made the 100 potency not worth it. Been playing nothing but Honkai for 7 hours. Hey, I mean, you could play it with Aradil. I think Aradil plays Honkai. Didn't Doton use to stay if you hit? Yes, also that, which led to really, really cursed openers. Where the ninja put down Doton, and then the tank was supposed to like pull the boss into the Doton for the pull, so that the ninja could get like 2 ticks or something. Gazel says, personally, I would trust players could do multiplication themselves. I have some bad news for you, Gazel. I wouldn't. I should have swift casted that Fire 1. The time was just right that it would have helped with the Mana Font weave. Oh well. Also, hey Danfarus and Wallace, hope you are doing well. Is Metricon says, I'm eternally confused why they choose to phrase fallout damage as X% less instead of X% of that damage. I agree, and it is very confusing for me to explain because like the best example of how that confusion caused absolute chaos was, I think it was a patch in 7.3, either 7.3 straight or one of the minor patches in it. But there was like a patch where like a bunch of jobs got like fallout damage, or you know, I often call it drop-off damage or something like that, reduced or raised, and a lot of players sat there like, is that a buff or a nerf? Because the reduced from A to B being an increase was already like too much of a tongue twister in the brain. I'll say Neon Sparrow, I hope you're doing well. So yeah, it would probably be solid for them to maybe change that. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we'll be back in the Mentor Roulette. In the meantime, sanity restored. Alright, I'm back. Probably looks, but it's not a localization fumble. It's actually the exact same. The thing that the Asymmetricon was clarifying, Lux, is in the English version, it reads, for instance, Flare deals fire damage with a potency of blah, and 30% less for all remaining enemies. What Asymmetricon requested, which I think would also be better and more easily understood, is if it instead said, and 70% of that for all remaining enemies. The thing is, if it's also 30% less in the JP version, then it's consistency, but it's a consistency that we would like to have changed. Seraph says, today I read a post about a dad who lied to his 6-year-old son about manatees being his favorite animal when he received a gift, and for the next 24 years his son gifted him manatee-related presents. Aww. I would have liked those manatee-related presents. Just send them to me. Look says, and I think the phrasing it as damage is reduced by 30% with the second and subsequent targets is less confusing phrasing than and 30% less for all remaining enemies. Hard to say. Let's say before they made AoE drop-off consistent, it used to read like that. Like, back in the day, Flare Red deals fire damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of number for the first enemy, 15% less for the second, 30% less for the third, 45% less for the fourth, 60% less for the fifth, and 70% less for all subsequent targets, or something like that. So... like, I don't know what to say. Like, I actually, it doesn't really change much. The problem isn't with the English words in the phrasing looks. The problem is with the number. Let me put it like this, Lux. Listen carefully. Is the following change a buff? The AoE drop-off on Flare has been reduced from 30% to 25%. Is it a buff or a nerf? Buff, correct. Also, as either it says, they could just put the number. Like, they could actually just say 240 potency for the first enemy and just put a number that is approximately 30% less for subsequent targets. Hey, Dan. Hope you're doing well. Right, I will queue when it says 52. And hey, Fern. Hope you're doing well as well. I do not have a son. I have a nephew, but I do not have a son. Yeah, the problem with the less is that when the job receives a buff, it reduces the the lessness, and when they receive a nerf, it increases it. So it gets really confusing. I'm glad to hear that, Dan, and welcome to the game. Wallace says, I believe the 1/3 pounder thing was a misconception. Apparently, it also just kind of sucked. Oh. Oh yeah, I do remember reading about that. I don't know, but it's certainly something where you read and go, oh yeah, I'm sure that happened. But that's very easy to make up. So you're saying chat still has a chance to call dibs on Kai? I mean, I'll say, Kaz, hope you're doing well. Because it's easy for me to see that as a buff when I have Flare's tooltip pulled up. But if I saw that alone in the patch notes, I don't think I could tell as easy. Indeed. Are we back in Guildhests? Mistwake! And Naomi is here! This isn't a Guildhest. It's pretty wild for a Guildhest, isn't it? Oh wow, Ilana already has a bingo. Wow. Yes, no, sure. I believe I explained multiple times on that day that no, it's not a nerf, it's a buff, or that is a nerf, because it was so confusing. Didn't you just start? How did they get a bingo? No, I've been at this for an hour, Missile. I just got back. Are you supposed to be able to beat the mannequins in Stone Sky Sea without using a buff potion at minimum at close to minimum item level? Hard to say. Let me put it like this, Shaman. The dummies are pretty are not consistently balanced. Some jobs have it really easy, some jobs have it really hard. So I couldn't possibly tell you. I would say the main thing you should focus on, Shaman, is if you're practicing on them, focus on whether whether you're doing better. Like, are you improving? Did you make any changes? Because sometimes it can also just be an RNG thing. Even when I had full best in slot gear for the last tier, sometimes on Black Mage I couldn't beat the Howling Blade Savage striking dummy. And sometimes I could beat it. And it was just like a crit roll, essentially. But Black Mage is notorious for having weirdly difficult settings for their striking dummies in that test. I'm summoning the damage on the other side of the rock. I'm looking between the little the little spikes. Will Kai overcap on polyglots? The answer is maybe. The very sneaky, not really a ninja pull. Hey Tong, hope you're doing well. Loot, 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 yoink. Loot, 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 yoink. Caetsu, I wonder if you can read too much into expected job balance based on Stone Sky CHP level differences, different jobs. I think, like I have mentioned before, that there seems to be a like the pattern I can see in Stone Sky C dummies is that jobs that are more heavily impacted by boss mechanics, or at least are perceived to be more heavily impacted by boss mechanics, tend to have the more difficult dummies. With the, I'm guessing, the logical reasoning being, well, you need to beat this dummy, which is like tuned really tightly, because then when you lose, I don't know, 10, 20%, some exaggeration may occur, of your damage due to movement, you're still doing enough damage. Your best in slot if you have one? What do you mean, Shaman? My gear set? It's not best in slot anymore. And I would just direct you to the balance. They usually know better. Ow. I already goofed it. So I just tried to survive by taking as little damage as possible. I'm just really bad at that specific mechanic. The Balance is a Discord server. And a website. If you Google it, it should show up. And there's a whole bunch of resources there, but let's just say that best in slot isn't as simple as this exact set for a lot of jobs. For instance, Black Mage has options, depending on what spell speed you like. But not only did in the last raid here, I had both the fastest setup and one of, if not the slowest setup, just based on what I preferred at a given time. I say, Harry, hope you're doing well. And thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you so much. It's okay, Shaman. That is something that I have talked about before. Is that it can be really hard to find these kinds of this kind of information, because how do you learn it? Usually you're told by someone else. I mean, Asymmetricon, if you just check the Black Mage list, I'm pretty sure that there's like 5 different suggested sets, depending on what GCD you like. And they're technically all like within really close proximity to each other. So calling any one of them not best in slot would be a little bit unfair. But I assume you know that. Hey Stainless, hope you're doing well. Thunderspark! You could try, Stainless. Let's just say that the origin story of me announcing when I'm going to queue was that people wanted to try and snipe me into hard duties. And I do believe that the only one that has succeeded in this at all, I think Agent Monica has several times yoinked me into Rathalos Extreme, but I think that's it. In all other cases, it usually just doesn't work. But you could try. But that is the main reason why I announce the time that I'm going to queue before queuing. And yeah, Seros has mentioned that there's a bounty for yoinking me into a duty of a level I've never had before, you could say, in Roulette. I'm completely out of position. Normally I'm on the other side of the boss, so I know the consistent save spots there. I actually do recall some months ago that there was a group trying to snipe me into Sephiroth Extreme. They didn't snipe me, but they did end up with a Sprout that actually queued for Sephiroth Extreme legitimately. Or something to that effect. Did you pay a visit to Bachman today? Did I? I don't think I did. But I have done like 6 Guildhests. But yeah, if you are on the same data center as me and you queue for instance, Leviathan Extreme, you could just yoink me in. It just like I don't want to like get your hopes up. Because so far, the most effective way to snipe me has been to just queue Mentor Roulette at the same time as me. And I say that because I believe Fern is a pretty good example of this. Lechaw and Fern have both sometimes sniped me like 2, 3, 4 times in a row. And they do this by just queuing Mentor Roulette at the same time as me. I think Rust could do it as well. Sometimes Ilana does that. And all of them has this thing in common that they queue for Mentor Roulette. Whereas if they queue for a specific duty, there's a relatively low chance that they'll actually snipe me. So thank you for the gifted membership, Shaman. Thank you so much. the passing it forward. Yeah, thank you. The paying it forward style. I appreciate it. Hey, veteran. Hope you're doing well. But let's see here. Also, hey, Helium. Hope you're doing well. Answer says, what are the rules for trying to snipe again? If, like, there are no rules necessarily. You need to be on Chaos. So any of the Chaos worlds on EU will work. I usually, a moment before I go into, like, before I queue, I will say something like, I will queue when it says 18. You see up here, Eorzea time. Eorzea time is universal for all of us, is the same. And the reason why I announced that is because that means that you don't have to account for stream delay. Like, maybe the stream is delayed by 5 seconds, who knows. But if you hear me say I will queue when it says, for instance, 30, and you just wait until it says 18:30 on your screen, like in your game, and then you just queue there, and you will queue at the same time as me. That's the trick. But typically, the only time it actually lands me in the same duty as you is when you queue for Mentor Roulette. Rarely does it work if you queue for something specific. At least that's what it seems to be the case. Also, hey, Chumo. Hope you're doing well. And also Mistel came in earlier. And Josh, hope you're doing well as well. Glad to have you all. Yeah, and speaking of which, I will queue when it says 40. Let's see if we're back in the Guildhests again. I guess there's also something to be said that if I'm sitting in queue for an extended period, you may have a chance of just yoinking me somewhere. Like a better chance. Like if I'm, like earlier, I sat in queue for like 8 minutes. And Naomi just sniped me by queuing Mentor Roulette. Exactly. You were in the enemy parties group? Well, there you go. Is there an extreme you like to get, and does it depend on the number of sprouts? No and no, and not really. I would gladly take a Sephiroth extreme. The one thing that makes it good or bad is how many players did their homework. Like, to put it very clearly here, I've done Ramu extremes in a single pull with like 1 death or less. Like maybe even 0 deaths. Like Ramu extreme, just go straight. No talking strategy, just go kill the boss, boom. I've also had them go down to the wire of this is the last pull. If we wipe here, it's over, and we made it. And the ones where we go down to the wire like that is always because there are some players that either are straight up not listening at all, or so few. There are a lot of players that didn't do their homework and are not learning fast enough. So essentially, I'm not going to say because, like when you're saying, does it depend on how many sprouts there are? I'm not going to assume that the sprouts are going in blind because some of them do their homework. So I'm not going to associate sprouts with being unprepared. However, I am going to say that my enjoyment of landing in an extreme is associated with how well prepared the players in the group are and how prepared they are to learn. Exactly, Necrofed, something like that. The only time I got thought on extreme where it actually led to a proper pull, we first tried it with half the raid realizing that it was extreme halfway through the intermission. Hey Shaq and Bobomet, hope you're doing well. I actually had one of those experiences, Stainless. The funny thing is it took a couple pulls before the tank eventually realized. I think the way that it worked was that people started like emoting at them quite a lot and sending like sound messages. And then eventually they stopped just going for it. Say my name. Hope you're doing well. My name says, so as someone who wants to start doing extremes, the best way would be to watch a video and join Party Finder. Yes, my advice, if you want to do like a Realm Reborn extremes synced as part of your journey, my advice would be look up a guide for the particular duty. Possibly post up in Party Finder. If you have looked up a guide, then you're already way better prepared than the average player that is queuing for this stuff. So you could also queue, but you will probably have the better experience if you can get a Party Finder group together. You could also join something like Syncademy. There's also other Discord servers that might have players interested in just joining you for it. Another tip that might get overlooked sometimes is... I don't care how well you think you know your job. I would very much advise you to look at a guide for the job you're going to be playing directed at your level, if possible. And I'm saying that partly with the assumption that if you're doing them a Realm Reborn synced and you're doing it this way, you're probably not playing a job that gets synced down. Like, you're not playing Pictomancer and then being like, well, there isn't a level 50 guide for Pictomancer. But the logic being that you may be dragging down the team by not knowing what you're doing. And just to be clear, some of the hardest runs I've had of any extreme has been because either the tanks have no idea what they're doing or the healers have no idea what they're doing. One of my hardest, my hardest go at Leviathan Extreme was both healers being extremely underprepared, like, job-wise, to the point where that when they both left, they were not kicked, when they left and they were replaced with 2 community players, so from this channel, one pulled and cleared the boss like that, no problem. Basically 0 deaths. So, like, I'm just saying, maybe watch a guide for the duty. Maybe just check a guide for the job you're gonna play for the appropriate levels. Just make sure you didn't overlook something and didn't misunderstand something. If you don't know where to find these things, all of my job guides for jobs that don't start at a higher level than 50 will cover level 50 and will specifically cover like openers and stuff for level 50. So you will be well equipped for level 50. And if you know your job, as Helium says, if you know your job, you will not be distracted trying to make your job function. So you will be better at learning the fight, whether you looked up a guide or not. Someone should make this guy a mentor or something. What were the healers doing wrong? One of them was just constantly spamming heal, so they ran out of MP really fast. The other one didn't recognize that by spam healing the tank that was tanking the tail, they were building a debuff on themselves, making it harder for them to heal. Both of them were basically just spamming heals when it wasn't needed, and then they didn't have resources when it was needed. And I do think it's very important to contrast me saying this with the Leviathan Extreme from yesterday's video, where Ilana basically solo carried the whole team as a healer by just being really good. Hey Darren, hope you're doing well. If you're on the correct area, you should be able to see these bugs on your minimap. Yeah, Sarah says, click on the text in the quest. It should open the minimap and show you where they are. Hey Kai, hope you're doing well. Oh boy, enemy parties again. Woo! I'm glad to hear that, Shaman. But that is like, that part of the reason why I say it like that is also because legitimately, that's what makes the difference. Oh, our samurai knows me. Fantastic. Whoop. Next says he could be a maths professor. I'm pretty sure so. I don't have a PhD, but I do have a master's degree. So I could have been your teacher. I could have been your TA for a course. I have been a TA actually. I've also actually been a mentor IRL, like professionally a mentor. So I have mentioned this in my videos on what mentoring is in Final Fantasy XIV. That I actually do have background experience with being a mentor. I will queue when it says 30. Hey Lenia, hope you're doing well. I do have not one but two whiteboards in my apartment. One of them is like teacher-sized. Or is it green then SMH? I mean, my IRL whiteboards are white. But the ones in my 14 house is green. And yeah, indeed, the whiteboard at the end of my videos is also white. Whiteboard stream. It's really awkward because the whiteboard is over there. So I'd have to like find a way to get the camera over there and it would still be at a weird angle. And I also use most of the whiteboard for various notes for myself. Can we address you as professor? You're welcome to, but I technically I don't have a degree that would make me a professor. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm a professor in weird 14 jank. Some have also in the past referred to me as sensei. Put a mirror up so we can see the whiteboard. Have you ever used the whiteboard for raid planning? Nope. Hey, Buckman and Naomi! Oh, Nox got the Ultima Extreme. Pew. Pew. I will queue when it says 31. Guildhests 8 or 9. I think it's something like that. We are quickly approaching a point where you can probably see what's going to be the funny meme of the video when it comes. I do believe that the record set on the first machinist mentor roulette of Dawntrail has not even been close to beaten Ceres. Getting your master's degree by writing a paper on the intricacies of Final Fantasy XIV topic. Oh boy. How many people are we here? Actually, more importantly, how many people are we here that has Mentor Roulette unlocked? Because Shaq is trying really hard to unlock Mentor Roulette, but Solemn Trinity is the stopping block. How many guild tests have we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guild tests out of 11 duties. Just come to this place and just make a pre-made. Solemn Trinity is the 8-man Guildhest at the end of all Guildhests. So the reason I said how many here have unlocked Mentor Roulette is because if you have unlocked Mentor Roulette, then for certain you've done Solemn Trinity. What would it be the title for that video? Very Hesty Day? Who knows? The machinist one that had 28 Guildhests, I believe, was the first and only bad day in Mentor Roulette because it was really boring. Hey Alejandro, hope you're doing well, and it has been a while. Hey Kitsa-san, hope you're doing well. Banana says, did you ever play WoW at a high level? I I rated... I was at max level in Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mist of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, and Battle for Azeroth. But I didn't actually play... I only played for like a month in both Warlords of Draenor and Battle for Azeroth. But I was in... I did some raiding in Wrath, but not like in a raid team. Cataclysm, I was in a raid team for the last tier. But I like came and went a little bit. For Mr. Pandaria, I raided for nearly the whole expansion. And I did actually beat Garrosh Hellscream on the hardest difficulty. 10-man. Legion, I raided in... I at least was in a raid team for all but the last raid tier. There I just did some pugging with some friends. I was only really interested in Mythic Plus. So I only raided for the gear that I needed for that. And I had a group to play Mythic Plus with, so... But yeah, I did a lot of raiding. Say law-abiding Pokemon, hope you're doing well. And welcome back to the Cult of the Pink. Thank you so much. Is it right that Chaos and Light have different queues? Do you find there is any difference between them? Technically, they have separate queues because they're separated systematically. But when I queued Mentor Roulette on Light this one time, I didn't find it any different. Like, not really. Oh boy. When you wanted to play a little bit of Black Mage, but then God said, Fire 1. Little bits of Black Mage. A little bit of Black Mage. Fire 1 maxing. LQ wins this 33. Did you get the Sweet Dreamer title? I think it's an Astrologian title. Forever young. Actually, I don't know. Pixies. I always think it's an Astrologian one, but you might be right that it's Pixies. Zailia, hope you're doing well. And also, actually, by the way, also, hey GL, I hope you're doing well as well. You've been here, been in the chat for a bit, I think. Will we hit the 10 Guildhests in one stream? We're one away. Never beating that 22 record, are we though? I will say that I have mentioned the way to set it up to like maximize your odds. I'm not gonna do it because I feel like that would like kind of ruin the point of all this. But I might do it on a day where we have the 2000 achievement. I was like, hey, hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ardell. Oh. An 8-man duty. What will it do once you get the achievement? I don't know. I feel like we are at a point where if I hit the 2000 mentor roulettes, I've been through mentor roulettes enough that we've kind of covered what needs to be covered. Oh, Nox is here. Like, I'm just saying. Oh, Snowshoe is here as well. I'm just saying that we've reached a point where I land in almost any A Realm Reborn extreme and it doesn't even move the needle. Like, I'll go in, we'll do it, and unless something extraordinary happens or it goes really badly, I might just go like, yeah, it went well. Just like a dungeon. Just meh. Stuff happened. So we are at a point where, admittedly, I might just go, nah, there isn't anything, like, we've kind of covered what needs to be covered. I'm good. But I might also do something else. So it might, like, the series might end there, and then we do something else. But I don't know. It's still pretty far. I know that, like, with the current pace, it would probably take at least a year to finish. Tank disconnected. Is it 1,500 you need to unlock Mentor? It's 1,500 you need to unlock Mentor, and then you need to have completed basically every duty in the game that is not a current expansion extreme or any Savage duty, roughly, to unlock the roulette itself. I'm very scared because I'm second in enmity and this boss has things that target someone else. I don't know if it'll target me. Hey Ian, hope you're doing well. This is gonna get a little spooky now. That's also true, Glane. You do need to do role quests to... But technically those role quests are needed for exactly the mentor title, yeah. I don't think you need to have done 1,000 instances. But the tank, heal, and DPS thing is required to get the mentor title itself. Do you need 1,000 instances for combat mentor? What is there that isn't unlocked? Ian, have you done Guildhests? Have you completed all Guildhests? Have you completed all extremes that are not from Dawntrail? Oop. The reason why it doesn't mention them is if you haven't unlocked a duty, it will not tell you what it is. It'll just say question marks. Or spoilers or something. Uh-oh. But if they're listed by name, then it's because you haven't completed them yet. It's not listed by name. In that case, I go back to, have you completed all Guildhests at least once? Haven't done any Guildhests. They're all mandatory. And will also show up as a question mark if you haven't done them. Or haven't unlocked them. I will queue when it says 10. 10. Ian says I've done Coils Unsynced. Coils of Bahamut is actually not on the list. Like some of the classic ones to forget, as Glane mentioned, if you haven't gone properly to Boja, you might not realize that you don't have Memoria Misera, which is an extreme. If you haven't ever properly started an A Realm Reborn relic, you might not realize that you're missing 2 trials there. If you've never bothered to go get it, you might have missed Earth's Fount Odin, which is also one that counts. There's the weapons trials. There's the lords, the 4 lords. There's Guildhests, as I said. If you've not done Guildhests, then they make up like 10 duties or something like that, if not 15. Like all of these, if you haven't even started, presumably it'll be a question mark for each of these. I will say, Ian, that I said, have you done Guildhests like 3 or 4 times? And you said no. So that would have to be it. It's quite a lot, yeah. And yeah, Hildebrand might be easy to miss if you haven't gone out of your way to do Endwalker relics. There's a bunch of duties there you might have missed. And just to be clear, one of the duties that Hildebrand locks that you will need for Mentor Roulette is a level 90 duty from Endwalker. So you will have to do, like, most of Hildebrand to get Mentor Roulette. The only stuff you don't need is the level 100 Hildebrand stuff. Good luck, Saras! It would be pretty funny if we got a Hildebrand trial in 7.5. I haven't gotten around to do Hildebrand in Dawntrail either. All I know is that it has this, like, noir theme, which is definitely different. Because do I need Hildebrand for relics? Endwalker relics, yes. Dawntrail relics, no. Oh yeah, true, for Dawntrail you could have missed Archveld. That is a good point. Hey Chris, hope you're doing well. Did you miss the Saturday stream? We did M9S there. And also, if you check the stream, the channel schedule, you'll see that it also says Savage Raid on Saturday this week. Weekly at M9S, yeah. Was it? It was nice. The vamp stomps were pretty rough. I think we had like a 30-minute or it felt like maybe 45 minutes of almost silence, where we just pull timer, pull, mechanic, stuff, vamp stomp, someone died, wipe, restart, pull timer, pull, mechanics, stuff happens, vamp stomp, someone dies, wipe. Because we needed to get that consistent. Because even when we managed, like, survive the first vamp stomp decently well, we would then, on the second or third vamp stomp, have, like, too many people die, and then it was a wipe. We briefly tried M10S. It took us 3 pulls with, I would say, at least half the raid, having not watched a guide or anything, to reach Insane Air. And we saw Insane Air and then concluded, yeah, we won't get this with people being completely blind. Not in like 20 minutes, which is what was left of the stream. How do you mean, Gazel? Like that I regularly landed on P12N? Oh. Give it a little bit, Gazel. I'm sure eventually people will start doing something there. Let's not forget that the P12N was on the menu for a really long time. Oh, just to be clear, Boja itself is not needed for Mentor Roulette. The only thing you need is Memoria Misera, which you need to progress a little bit into Boja to unlock. Imagine if it was. Well, how would that even work? You queue Mentor Roulette and then it just dumps you into Boja. Like, oh, well, 90 minutes of this. 3 hours, actually. Boja Shadowbringers? Yes. Yes. I mean, that would be really cursed. I've mentioned this before, that part of the problem with roulettes that have a very wide range of what you can receive is that a player might queue for roulette and be willing to do like 70% of the likely results, but not the remaining 30%. You might be right on that, Glane. I just know that usually if you don't even know what Boja is, you don't have Memoria Misera. I don't remember how early it is. To give an example of it is Alliance Raid Roulette is a pretty classic example of that, in that some players will queue for it expecting Crystal Tower, which takes, you know, like at most 15 minutes usually. And then they get Dunskate or Orborn Monastery or any near raid or, I don't know, Aglaya. It doesn't actually really matter. If you get a not Crystal Tower, then the person might have queued expecting it to take 15 minutes, but then it takes 30. The same can be said about Mentor Roulette. The average duty in Mentor Roulette is going to take, like, at most 30 minutes or so. Probably less, because the reason I said 30 minutes is because, again, alliance raids drag the average up pretty hard. So when you land in an extreme, some of the mentors will go, well, I don't have time for this, because they estimate that it'll take an hour. And I was just thinking that I hadn't gotten this one in Mentor Roulette yet. I thought about this like an hour ago, like, I had never actually got any of the new like, I haven't gotten this one at least.
You are bound by the limits of flesh. It will betray you.
Which also means that this is like the 3rd time I've done this duty ever on normal. And Naomi. And Snowshiro's here. Ow. Right, I didn't actually see that there was something on me. Great start!
There.
I'm probably going to be staying down for a while. Mentor, by the way. Yeah, exactly. Nailed it, guys.
Perhaps this. Kill them. Bothersome. Kill them.
That's a circle AoE.
Fear compounds fear, eroding your strength. I will reduce you to ether.
Don't reduce me to ether. No!
You will die for me now. Accepting death is the greatest sin a life can commit.
IMO.
The endless darkness engulfs you.
Okay. Yeah, 4 GCs to beat Ham's face record. Boom. I'm really unfortunate the right one didn't just die.
Still alive. But there are ways to change that. There. Those who do not resist death deserve it.
The smudge of death. Odd is in.
I am prepared for you.
Me too. Even is out.
Fight, if you must.
Thanks. This is bad.
There.
Me over here sacrificing my entire ley lines. Ow. And then we just can't agree at all.
Struggle in vain. Once the terror takes root, it will only continue to grow.
I was thinking of saying healer LB, but then I thought this could get a lot worse. Maybe hold it for a bit.
Fear compounds fear, eroding your strength.
Oh, the reason why we were thinking healer LB is a gain on toe.
I will reduce you to ether. Those who do not resist death deserve it.
Odd is out. Not that we'll need it.
I am prepared.
Meteor! Kaboom! That was certainly something. I didn't actually notice that there was something under me right at the start. But I should have known, considering I know what Fear of Death does on Extreme. How come Swiftcast doesn't work on Limit Break? Because Limit Break is not labeled as a spell, I guess. Sure, Mizu. That's probably good enough. My other death, though, was not me. That's not my fault. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we keep going. In the meantime, sanity restored. I'm back. Yeah, what really turned bad there was the towers, just the light party thingies where we need 4 players to stand in them just didn't work. Like, we had precisely 3 players stand on something every time, which was really strange because the back right tower was solved immediately. And then I don't know what happened. Maybe one of the players went, okay, great, we're probably plenty, and just decided to not continue. Like, I don't even know what happened. I even stepped out of my ley lines to help on the left side, only to be like, wait, why are we only 3? Why are we still only 3? Why are we 2 now? I'll queue when it says 16. Dun 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 dun. 9 minutes? Oh boy. Quote unquote, nature is healing. DPS is mostly Guildhests and then something completely random. Tanks and healers are mostly leveling duties. It's dungeons, dungeons, dungeons. We might just go back to doing that. Just support Mentor Roulette. Or maybe a mix. The true horror was that you were forced out of your ley lines. Yeah, the ley lines that I was willing to die for at the start of the duty. Is how the wheel comes back. I imagine if it got to the point, I might just go and do it such that I will queue as one job, and then if the queue is really long, I just switch to a different role. I think I've done that before. Ley lines is what, 15% haste? I mean, it's something like that. It's not quite how haste works, but something like that. Oh boy! Oh, it's just hard, guys. It's just hard, but Ilana's here. You know, a ley line is not worth dying for. That's true, Helium. That is indeed true. Should have been. I mean, I was expecting extreme. I always expect extreme when I see Ramuh. So I'm just like, oh, it's not. Huh, weird. Arguably, the amount of time saved by ley lines is so small that you don't even need to account for weakness. You don't have to do all that math. You just go ley lines adds up to like 1 or 2 extra GCDs in a 20-second time frame, like roughly. So dying at all kind of makes it not worth it. Like the moment you have been left on the floor for a single second, it wasn't worth it. It also didn't help that me making that mistake was then followed by one of the healers making a similar mistake, dying, and then they got raised immediately, thankfully. Ooh. But then they died again immediately. So the healer left alive that could rest someone didn't have a swift cast or the resources to do anything. So I just, I had to wait until the other healers stopped dying. You know, the most amazing part is that Ilana and I ran like side by side, but apparently Ilana was a little bit ahead. Because on my screen, I did it first. I think that one of these players thinks that it's a tether that is broken by distance. I'll queue when it says 3. I mean, yeah, the distance one is understandable. I have mentioned I had a Ramuh Heart previously where I remember that like the two players getting tethered, they first tried distancing from each other, nothing happened. Then they closed in on each other, stood on top of each other, nothing happened. Then they kind of just stood there for a bit because they did recognize that they were taking damage by attacking, so they just stopped doing anything altogether. Stood there for a little bit, and then just meh, and just went back to attacking. I guess just... Well, I mean, they didn't die. But the really funny bit being that, like, they tried things and just eventually went, well, I'm out of ideas. Imagine if that was just a constant dot the healers had to deal with now. Well, that was what happened. It's just that on hard, it's pretty manageable. But that is exactly what happened. That they just went, welp, and just went back to attacking. Oh, intentional. It would be funny if there wasn't a mechanic. It was just now you're tethered together. What does it mean? Up, you're both taking damage. Whenever you do an action, you and the other person takes damage. Okay, what do we do about that? Nothing. You're just gonna take that damage. And now you kiss. Does that remove the mechanic? No, but it would be funny if you did. That would be pretty funny. If, like, in a new extreme or something, there's a mechanic that looks like there's something you're supposed to do. Like, it's a pretty painful dot, but it's manageable. And it looks like there is an answer, but there isn't. It's just a dot. Oh boy, a machines and a Viper tethered together mid-hypercharge? Is there anything that would kill faster than that? Ninja Mudras? Could be. Enshroud? Well, at level 50 you wouldn't have Enshroud, no Shiro. Remember the debuff in some Heavensward dungeons that you could cleanse by an emote? Yes. Ninja Mudras could definitely be an option. Then Monk. I believe at that level that Monk and Viper's GCD is the same. But yeah, Viper doesn't have any OGCDs to weave in between, so Monk would win by having like crits every now and then. Like level 50 Monk is the same GCD as Viper at level 50. Because Monk gets the last speed boost at like level 70 something. 74? 76? Something like that. 76. So it would probably come down to... Alien says, how does the role waiting list work? Does the duty actually take into account roles for DPS slot? I'm number 1 as Reaper and you're number 7 as Black Mage. How does that work? You queued first. Probably. Or we queued approximately simultaneously. The waiting list is just... it's a queue. Like, quite literally, you know, like at the store. What's up with the Lonely Holy and Holy Spirit in page 4? That's my opener button. I didn't need anything. I'll say Lee, hope you're doing well. And Cybrid, hope you're doing well as well. And Glane, you were here early as well. Helium, are you on Chaos? Helium, are you on Chaos? Chaos Omega? Then I don't know. It'd be a fun video if you could figure it out. I don't think there's any way to figure it out because there's too much randomness involved. Oh, that is a good point, Helium. Do you have more than just English set for your duty finder? Because that could make a difference. Is it possible for 2 or more mentors to party up and queue together for Mentor Roulette? No, Mentor Roulette is solo queue only. The only way for you to land in duties with other mentors is by random chance. If it was that you could just team up and queue as a group, then I wouldn't be doing this thing where I'm saying a time. Then I would have just grabbed people and been like, all right, let's go. There's also the part, Snowshiro, that Samurai has a weaker speed buff at level 50. Because they get a boost to it at level 78. It's only 10% at level 50. Remember, I said 50. You know, Snowshiro, you're really showing your hand that you don't know a lot of jobs at low level. There's also the part that Samurai doesn't really have much OGCDs either at level 50. So I do think, like, in terms of a combined GCD OGCD situation, it's probably something to the effect of Viper, Ninja, Monk, and then Machinist during a hypercharge is probably at the top. I'll say, Light God, hope you're doing well. That's pretty cursed, Helium. The funny thing there is that it's more likely that the French player had turned on all languages for their advantage than the opposite. Hey, another Guildhest. Now that's awkward. When the cast takes so long that all the enemies you wanted to hit had left by the time you finish your cast. I'll queue when it says 44. But I mean, I will say on the language thing that if you turn on any of these, like, technically you're saying that you can speak that language or can communicate in that language. That's why I don't have any of them turned on. But then I just get slapped anyway by someone that doesn't speak English, checking English because they don't want a long queue. And I'm like, okay, but could you then not do that while queuing for a duty that is so hard that you actually need to communicate? I know how to use also translate function. Does that count as being able to communicate? I would say maybe not, but I would also say if you already have English turned on in a European data center, you're probably already catching like 80 or 90% of the queues available, I would assume. And the remaining ones you're not catching, you'll probably get some of them. Like, you'll probably get the ones that would be willing to put up with Google Translate. Because they will have turned English on. Sometimes they also don't want to communicate with Google Translate. In fact, they might not want to communicate at all. No, I mean, Helium, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. Right, Sally? Enjoy work. It's not illegal. I'm just saying, for your own sake, especially if you end up complaining about what you get paired up with. Like, I'm just saying, I have ran into a player that basically was like, I don't speak English. Like, they straight up just led with, I don't speak English. And then, like, you open this menu and see English lit up. I'm like, okay, but you did technically sign up for English. Like, that's on you. Technically, that is on you. That's not my problem. It's yours. You should be meeting me, not the other way around. Like, that's basically what I'm saying, is if the big F here is lit on your side and someone doesn't speak English, then good on you if you use Google Translate. But if they have the glowing E and they say I don't speak English, then I'm very nice to Google Translate anyway, but it should actually be them that Google translates to meet me, because I never signed up to meet them. Right? Like, if we're going to be fair here, maybe signed up for Spanish. There is actually, so Spanish is actually not supported. Like, officially, Final Fantasy XIV is straight up doesn't support Spanish. But as I'm saying, I will, like, if I run into the situation where communication is needed, and the person I need to communicate with says they don't speak English, I will try my best, but it will be served with a, you have noted on your character, on your person, that you're willing to communicate with people that don't speak your language, but do speak English. You did so to get a faster queue, but that comes with some demands. Notably, you're the person who can't communicate with me, and you said you could. If you can't, then you have signed a contract that you can't fulfill. And your soul is mine! Oh, no, actually, no. Unfortunately, that's not how that works, but imagine if it did. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, Liam. You might be right. But that actually makes it even more cursed, Liam, because that means that someone went out of their way to check these and then separately went and checked these. But that certainly explains a lot, because I have experienced a couple times in my time landing in a duty with someone that clearly doesn't speak English, and then I open this menu and see that no one other than me that no one else speaks their language either. That there's like that complete disconnect. But that would explain a lot if the person has just gone into the duty finder and checked that they want to be queued with everyone. But the thing is also, just while we're on the topic, that for most duties, it doesn't matter. Like, if you queue for expert roulette, max... Actually, if we just... On all these roulettes, the only one where it could actually be a problem is, like, mentor roulette. For most of these, it's probably, like... Within reason, you might have a situation where you have a tank or a healer or something that is so incredibly bad that it is actually a problem that you can't communicate with them. Ooh, another max level duty. Fantastic. But if assuming you know roughly how to play, then it, like, you will not need to say a word to anyone in that duty. So you not being able to understand them doesn't matter. But if you have these settings to shorten the queue for like an extreme, you can probably see how that would be a problem. And that problem is actually similar to something that I believe JP players regularly run into. Or regularly, sometimes run into. Oh, thanks, Slime. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, as others mentioned, Slime, apparently you can just choose your duty settings separate from the settings of languages you are actually socially willing to speak. Which then leads into a really funny situation where it looks like it just did that. So I don't know if we would be able to know for sure on that specific subject. But yeah, in certain contexts on JP data centers, there are situations where not only do they they put very clearly labeled on their parties that it's JP only, and they might even test you on it, so I've been told. Because they so frequently run into players that don't speak Japanese, and that's not a problem until you need to talk strategy, right? Do you like Savage Prog or something? And someone in your party doesn't speak your language, but they joined your party anyways, just hoping that it wouldn't come up. Hey Melissa, hope you're doing well. With all the numbers. Was it so loud? I believe my, like, generally voiceover sound is set significantly louder than everything else. This is like a carryover from early on in my MSQ replay series, that we ran into the problem that people couldn't actually hear when there was voice acting in a quest. And I've just kept it like that. And also, yeah, on that note, Silva, in the Discord community server, there's... Whoa! There's plenty of people that can speak Japanese that could help you if you have any questions. Gazel included. That was really stupid. I knew he was gonna die from that. He should have just soloed it. Come on. Teamwork. Hey, Magmic. Hope you're doing well.
And I will protect you.
Take shelter in the castle!
Painful memories of war, I lay to rest.
It is a very fun fight. It's also definitely one of the harder random dungeon bosses. Swedish and Danish queues when? That would be like, I'm just saying, as a Danish person, that would be a waste. I'm sure a lot of the Danish players would just be like, thanks that you translated the game to Danish, but I'm just gonna play it in English. Like, I'm good, thanks. I've certainly done that before. I don't even know the words of a lot of random fantasy terms in Danish. So I would just be like, I don't even know what anything is now. Exactly, Ham. Thanks. Why? It could be funny, as it would be a way for Danish and Swedish players to run into each other. But I'm just saying. Well, I'm like it's all to say, like I don't have to play with fellow Danes. It's funny when we run into each other, but that's not something that I'm like, oh man, if only I could find fellow Danish players to play with. Yeah, I could understand that, Regal Star. I would probably also... I think I would possibly be going... You know what? I might wipe the party to make sure that they get a proper attempt if we wipe really early on a boss, but I would usually ask before wiping it, like forcibly. And... if we ran into the situation more than once, I would probably just be like, okay, guys. Come on. And just finish it right then. Would Kai stream in Danish if the game supported it? Probably not. Actually, funny thing about that is that, like last week, YouTube randomly switched me from display language, switched my display language from Danish to English. And given that it's all the same to me, I just like went like, oh well, I'll just use it in English then. I don't care. Because a lot of the reason why I even had it display Danish was just because I just hadn't ever bothered to change it. I was like, well, whatever. You just get used to the names of things in the Danish version. But then my brother made this tool for me, which I use for, you know, the end slate for the for the videos. I use this tool to yoink all the names from like a CSV file. But the program that my brother made reads the header, and the header is in language, which means that if I have the client, like have the YouTube display set to Danish, then it'll show Danish headers. And he made it with the Danish headers. So the software just crashed when it was in English. So I then had to change it back to Danish. But to function. I did notice the healer died, but then I also concluded that the fight was close enough to over. So just meh. And also, that's true, when people come to Denmark and try to speak Danish with Danes, if it's very clear that you have a strong accent, it's very likely that the Dane will just respond to you in English. In fact, if I, like, run into strangers, like, for instance, you, like, bump into someone, like, oops, I'll probably say sorry rather than, oops, oh, excuse. Because it's more likely, or it's actually more likely that the person will definitely understand English than definitely understand Danish. Not to say that that there's a weirdly low count of people that understand Danish in Denmark, more so saying that all the Danes would understand the English term too. How's Iridian? Hope you're doing well.
Initiating level 9. Activate permanents. Engaging properties.
Engaging foreign entities.
Attempting removal via incision.
DJ Eliminator on the beat.
Attempting removal via incision. Removal failed. Commencing extermination sequence. Attempting extermination via multiple armaments.
They should really consider taking their death robot out of debug mode when sending it into battle. I'm just saying.
Purging via armaments. Acquiring target. Exterminating. Commencing final attack sequence. Attempting annihilation via high-powered energy discharge.
I have too many things I need to use right now.
Energy accumulation complete. Initiating final attack protocol.
Oh wait, I have cards and I have a divination. I should do this.
Annihilation.
Take these! Damage!
Attempting total annihilation. Annihilation.
Annihilation! Boop. And boop. And a boop. And a boop. And a boom. Evacuate! Whew. No, you don't understand. It is critical that the user understands that the gateway error is caused by gateway error. Somebody says, nah, just someone pushed that mode to production and the git tree is too F to take it back now. Happens all the time. Shrug. Meh. Meh. I'm actually pretty sure, Ridian, that the moment that it changed my display language to English was because I clicked on a Japanese video that did have auto-translation to English. And then when I switched off it, it switched my display language to English because... I was just checking if I understood correctly what that label meant, and that was indeed what it meant. attempting removal via incision. So let's see what we got then. One extreme, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Guildhests, and 1 MSQ Roulette, and 2 max level dungeons, and 1 normal raid, and 2 normal trials. 10 Guildhests. You got the 10 Guildhests in your weekly challenge log. Oh yeah. Indeed. Ah yes, 2,000 gil. Awesome. Ham says, isn't that stuff recreated from memory? So perhaps no one ever saw that thing fight outside of debug mode. So all memories of it are just... You know, that's a good point. Maybe the reason why is because Sven's memory is just the debug mode version when they were showing it off. Yes, Your Majesty, that is how it will function. We will, of course, make it shut up when it is fighting actual enemies. Oh, fantastic. Now, you will not see it on the battlefield, because you won't be on the battlefield. Oh, right. That's what she remembers, then. But, yeah, I feel like it's been a bit since DPSQ has been like that. But I did feel like I wanted to do DPS a little bit because we've been done a lot of support. But now I remember why we do more support mentor roulette. I almost said support Guildhests. Anyway, if you would like to be part of the Discord community server, there's a link in the chat right there. There you will find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is coming up in the coming days. I usually update it Sunday or Monday. You also find the announcement room with links to videos and streams, and I put them out. And if you grab the reminder roll in the role assignments room, you'll get a notification whenever I post a video or stream, as well as an extra one around 15 minutes before stream starts, so you can catch it right when we go live. And if you'd like to support the channel even more directly, you can become a member of the channel, you can gift memberships, you can subscribe, you can follow, you can like, you can cheer, you can super chat, you can do all that goodness. And if you don't like any of that, there's the Ko-fi link in the Ko-fi link in the chat from Outlet right there. It all helps support me and the channel directly, so I can focus on doing stuff like this with all of you. So thank you very much for the support. But that'll be it from me tonight. So good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where in the world, and hope to see you all very soon. Bye bye.